We are back on Get Up. Let me run the floor through all the action in the NBA. Last night, beginning in Dallas, Jaylen Brown had 33. Celtics beat the Mavs 110-100. Cooper Flagg had 36 in the loss. He becomes the first teenager in NBA history with 3 straight 30-point games. He's also the first rookie to average 35 points while shooting 55% from the floor over any 3-game span since Michael Jordan did it in 1985. Meanwhile, blockbuster trade in the league ahead of the deadline. Grizzlies appear to be tearing it down. They traded Jaren Jackson Jr. to the Jazz, part of an 8-player deal. 3 first-round picks headed back to Memphis. Memphis, of course, may not be done wheeling and dealing. We'll get to the Ja Morant of it all in a minute. And then speaking of trade talk, the Warriors played last night without Steph Curry. They got blown out by the Sixers in what might have been Draymond Green's last game with Golden State. Sources telling ESPN that Draymond's name has come up in active trade conversations, putting a 14-year run with the franchise in jeopardy. Here was Draymond asked about it last night.
I think a lot of people want to know, like, how I feel about it. Like, am I upset about it? Or, like, I'm not at all. Like, I don't. If that's what's best for this organization, that's what's best for the organization. I'm not, like, oh, man, they me over or something like that. Like, I don't really feel that way. Like, I've been here for 13 and a half years. I don't know that it ends at 13 and a half, but if it does, what a run it's been. I'll take the fine for it. What a run it's been. So that's just how I feel.
It's probably the right way to feel. Again, Iman Shumpert and Brian Windhorst with us. Klay Thompson not finishing his career as a Warrior. A lot of greats don't finish their careers with the teams for which they will always be remembered. Windy, is Draymond Green about to become one of those? Is he going to get traded between now and tomorrow afternoon?
I think it's probably still, I would say, unlikely, but the Warriors feel it's enough of a situation that they came to him and let him know. And I would call this sort of a conscious uncoupling, to use modern verbiage. And Draymond is understanding of it. They don't want to surprise him. He is in the offer to the Milwaukee Bucks that is out on the table, and Draymond has taken action on himself. If he were traded, his plan would not be to remain in Milwaukee. He would want to be moved on. A team that would be possible if he were traded, and I can't emphasize the number of ifs I've said enough before I say this, but the Los Angeles Lakers would be a team he would have interest in, and they would have interest in him. But that would require the Bucks to take action on Giannis. What I think is interesting is they have now crossed the Rubicon here with Draymond Green. If he is not traded by tomorrow, it would not surprise me if these talks were revisited in the summer in the last year of his contract, whether it would be in another Giannis offer or somewhere else. And I think that's where we're getting to in this story.
Okay, so understanding that there are 6 or 7 ifs along the way, Iman Shumpert, I'm still interested. You put Draymond Green on these Lakers, what do they become?
I don't know what they become right away, but I do know that Draymond Green has an underrated basketball mind. I know we get caught up in the antics, we get caught up in the funny fouls, some of the quotes after the game. But when you start talking about a big man that figured out a way to dominate the game, defensively, grabbing rebounds, and then the ability to carry the threat of being a willing passer at the 4. Draymond Green did all those things. I played against that Warriors team that seemed like such a headache, and you focused on all the other guys. But when you took out Draymond Green for that, what was that game 4 or that game 5, we got to see how much of a hole he leaves in the lineup when he's not around. So make no mistake that Draymond Green has value. Does he have it at this age? We're going to see if he goes over there to be a Laker. But I think that Draymond, just having the basketball knowledge he has and the tools and gifts that he has, it's going to be kind of exciting to see him wear a different uniform.
Oh, we know he and LeBron are longtime friends. Seen them traveling all over Europe together. That would be something to watch. All right, Windy, let's run through a couple others. We mentioned the Memphis starting to disassemble its roster. The obvious next stop is Ja Morant. What do we expect there?
Yeah, so if you look at what they did with Desmond Bane last summer and you look at this trade, they have picked up 7 first-round picks and they've cleared over $300 million off of their books. That removes the pressure to really get any sort of meaningful return for Ja Morant, which is good because his value is not high out there. They can now shift if they want. Instead of trying to trade him for value, to try to trade him and use him basically as money in a contract, but they would take on future money to get assets. This is an opportunity out there for somebody to not only buy low on Ja Morant, but also offload toxic assets as a part of getting Ja Morant. Will any team step up in the next 24 hours? That's what we're going to see. This is a player that is potentially a steal, but there's a lot of baggage that comes along with it.
For sure. There was a moment in time, Iman Shumpert, where I thought, and many thought, Ja Morant was on the verge of becoming one of the real faces of the NBA. That time feels like a very long time ago. Do you think he can recapture that? Could he wind up reclaiming whatever it is it appeared at one point he was certain to be?
Yeah, I think he does. I think the gift and the curse of the whole situation is Ja Morant's woes started off the floor. Nobody really had a problem with the spark plug of offense, the athleticism. It was just an off-the-floor thing. So I think getting him out of this situation that's run its course, if you can get him somewhere else, especially if it's in the right organization for him to learn and for him to calm down and just take a look at things from a different perspective, I think it goes right back into his development, and we see a different Ja Morant, but
Have you ever wondered what it would take for the Golden State Warriors to shake up the entire NBA in one bold move? What if I told you that this year's trade deadline could be the most dramatic chapter in Warriors history? Not just because of that Greek superstar everyone is talking about, but because the Warriors might be willing to sacrifice one of their own legends to make it happen. Before we go any further, let me ask you this. Would you trade Draymond Green to bring Giannis Antetokounmpo to Golden State? That's the burning question hanging over the league right now, and the answer could rewrite the Warriors' future in a way we've never seen before. NBA trade deadline week exploded into shock this year when fringe playoff teams like the Grizzlies and the Jazz pulled off a blockbuster, sending Jaren Jackson Jr. to Utah in a deal that shook up the West. Suddenly, the big dominoes are falling, and the biggest fish still in the water is Giannis Antetokounmpo, a two-time MVP superstar who could instantly elevate the Warriors' title odds if they can get a deal done. Golden State has been linked to Giannis for years, but this is the moment where the fantasy could become reality, and sources now say the Warriors are seriously in the mix as the trade deadline nears. ESPN's Shams Charania reports that Draymond Green's name has entered the conversation as part of the potential package to make the salaries work with Milwaukee. With Jimmy Butler injured and carrying a massive contract that's hard to move, Green's healthy, more easily tradable contract has become a key chess piece in the Warriors' pursuit. Now let's be real, Draymond Green is not just any player. He's been the emotional engine of this franchise for 14 seasons, a four-time NBA champion, a fiery leader who has defined the Warriors' identity for more than a decade. Coach Steve Kerr even said this is the first time in his tenure that Draymond's name has ever come up in trade conversations. That alone tells you how serious things have gotten. And Draymond himself didn't shy away from reality after the last home game, acknowledging the possibility of a trade, not with bitterness, but with the understanding that this is the business. His respect for the organization and his acceptance of the situation speaks volumes about his character, and that's exactly the type of leader the Warriors have had to build around. The bigger question now is whether Golden State has a plan B if Giannis doesn't land in the Bay Area. Right now, the Warriors are 27-23, holding the number 8 seed in the brutal Western Conference, and they've had to navigate life without Jimmy Butler, and now with Stephen Curry sidelined at times due to knee soreness. Curry is still putting together an elite season at nearly 38 years old, but he's lacked a true co-star all year, and that's why this Giannis pursuit is more than just a rumor. It's a reflection of how far the front office is willing to go to give Curry one last legitimate title push. Warriors Nation, I want to know what you think. Would you trade Draymond Green if it meant bringing Giannis to the Bay Area? Do you want the front office to swing for the fences or stay patient and build around what we have? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button if you're fired up for this trade deadline chaos, and make sure to subscribe to Warriors Nation News channel so you never miss the latest updates as this story unfolds.